Alright, guys. Need to listen to this. It's very important. Very, very important. Like, probably the most important thing that I've ever seen. Honestly. I don't want me to show.
T-Mobile knows the new year brings big news.
Not this bullshit.
Get the
Not
iPhone
this.
12 with 5G on us on every single. We are. Hey, my friends, this is Roger once again, Mudfossil University, going deep into the meaning of life and what about this Big Bang story and evolution? How do we get here? The origin of life, all that stuff. Now, I want to just give you a little tantalizer to tell you how this is going to unfold, because it's going to be a very long series. Where the hell did we come from? Nobody knows. Nobody has any clue whatsoever. They all, the Big Bang. What do you, Big Bang of what? Nothing was here to bang. How do you get big from nothing? Now, I can't support God either, other than the fact that everything is here. We know it all exists. There's no question whatsoever in my reality. All these things I'm banging around on are actual physical reality. So let's just get past that. It's here. How I got here, I don't know. But I can tell you this. A big bang of dead dust from nothing creating what we have now is not really realistic. I mean, it really kind of is comical, to be honest with you. In the beginning, there was nothing. Well, where did it come from? Then all of a sudden, everything just happened. The Big Bang. Well, and then it just starts with this. Listen to this. It all starts at the Big Bang. Yeah, it's not really a Big Bang. It was just a moment in time, not a point in space. Well, what does that mean, a moment in time and not a point in space? Where did it come from? Sean Carroll, a theoretical physicist at the California Institute of Technology, told Live Science. Specifically, it's the moment when time itself began, the instant from which all subsequent instants have been counted. So where did it come from? Despite its well-known moniker, the Big Bang wasn't really an explosion. It was rather a period when the universe was extremely hot. What universe? And dense, and space began to expand outward in all directions. Space from where? What expanded? I'm seeing what it says in the Bible right here, to be honest with you. Though the model of the Big Bang states the universe was an infinitely small point of infinite density, there's just a hand-wavy way of saying that we don't quite know what was going on then. Exactly. Mathematical infinities don't make sense in physical equations. Exactly. The Big Bang is really the point at which our current understanding of the universe breaks down. They have no idea where it came from. They just start there and then they say, well, it just started inflating. No, it was here from some other reason. And I'm going to tell you what right now. It is not just dead dust that all accumulated together and got smart. Absolutely. The most simplistic mind could come up with that. That it was nothing was here, then all of a sudden it was here, and then all of a sudden it got smart. And that's how we are. Case closed, just evolution. Have a nice day. That doesn't work for me. Okay, this is always like a minefield because people have deep-set religious convictions. That's fine. That's no problem whatsoever. And I don't think this is going to affect anybody's religious convictions because everybody has their own God. And that is acceptable in my train of thought. Because in the beginning, it said, let us make man in our own image, which means there's more than one. Now, my assertion, my thinking is that nobody has any idea how it all started. However, the book of Genesis makes the claim of how God created the earth in 6 days and rested on the seventh day. Most people are somewhat familiar with that story. Now, so this is in the beginning. Now, if God created man and all these things, which I believe absolutely 100%, no question whatsoever, to some intelligent design, and I believe it was in the light, let there be light. And I believe the light is the intelligent part, and I've been studying that right now. And that goes back over 50 years ago. There was a guy that actually, and I will show the information, but let me just tell you one thing right now. If you think that there was nothing, and then all of a sudden everything happened, and then all of a sudden the little bits and pieces decided to get smart and become what we are now, and they get nasty and vicious and violent and all the things that we do now, that's just insanity. Something else happened in between there. How it got here, je ne sais pas. I do not know. How it went from there to here, now I got a pretty good idea, because I have gone back to all the ancient texts. Whereas, when I say all, a lot of them, and I try to draw similarities between a broad range of data, and I have actually found things that they're talking about on the earth that nobody's ever decided could have even imagined. Giants, dragons, all kinds of things that were all mentioned. So I am taking the texts to be extremely valid, because I've validated them. Now, I have found that modern interpretations of these early texts and how they see them as myths and mystical, just sort of nonsense, really. But just let's reduce it to that. It's just silly nonsense by people that are scared of dying, basically. So they have to invent all these things. Well, Darwin he knew what was going on. A bunch of slime turned into human beings and animals and all that stuff, and it just happened. But the slime got smart after the dust exploded from nothing, and it's pretty obvious what happened there. And they just accept that. They totally accept it. No matter what you bring to them, it's already been established. Forget about it. Don't come back. Don't come bring that nonsense here. Darwin already proved everything. Well, that's where we start with the problems. Once you rely on 100% rely on it, and then do not dispute it, then it's over. And that's what's happening. It's over. Now, let's just talk about how life did evolve and how complicated life is. Now, I study pretty much everything. And if you think that all of this happened by accident, that little dust and debris accumulated and decided to create all of that vascular network and all of these organs and all of these different types of tissues and all of these lymphatic systems, how to get rid of the garbage in your body and your teeth and your lungs and your throat and your face and all of these things. If you think they were just accidentally products of, come on, it's time to wake up. Look, I studied the enzymes specifically, because enzymes are the products that make your life work. Gastric juices, digestion, all of this stuff. And where I have highlighted stuff, it's very important. Look at this. You think that? Look at these different tissue types. Look at the different membranes. Look at these different villi and digestive. Look at this. Are you serious? Who in their right mind would accept that is an accident of dust coming from nothing? All right, this the origin of life and where we came from and what our eternity is and the meaning of life is pretty deep stuff. So it's not like a 15-minute presentation. This goes back 30 years or more ago, where this guy actually sees light. The crystals of light, which light is a crystal. He's right. I agree with him 100%. And I can show it. I can actually prove it by the light experiment showing the particles disassociating and reassociating as crystals. And he does too. Now, listen to this goes back 30 years. And it's gotten forgotten, really, basically, is what it boils down to.
Every so often there comes a discovery, a revelation that allows us to see our world as it has never been seen before. Greetings, I'm Larry Emlaw. The information that we are about to present to you reveals a beautiful harmony to the world of inner space. But it is more than just a revelation of beauty and harmony. You are about to look into a microscope and journey back in time. You will witness intelligent, highly organized, pre-cellular microbial organisms today by some 4.5 billion years. The scientific discoveries documented in this report are first, a catalyst, light crystals.
Light crystals. Dark and white. It's a crystal. It's a positive and a negative. Crystals have a lot of polarities.
And subsequently, an organism called
Embryona is the original formation of these particles to start to form cell membranes and all the today. But he actually shows this occurring. And this goes back 30 years ago.
Which I discovered here and worked at was leading me to the second and third cold fusion process, where I actually produced miniature hydrogen bombs. You can see the halo, just a miniature hydrogen bomb. That it was demonstrated to the crystals.
Look at this. Look at the black and white. Those are the crystals. And those are light crystals. He's using, this is extremely magnified. And the light is actually organizing it as an intelligent group to create life.
factories of T killer cells to enhance our immune response and fight off the noted that the living forms you are about to see would be invisible.
All right, this gets deep. It really gets deep. This guy is a genius. I mean, you want to see the stuff. But like I said, because science just walks away from things that they can't explain. And this guy was a little ahead of his time. So this leads down the road to where do we come from? And how does light create life? And what does it mean when it says, let there be light? And then what does it mean when it says, let there separate the light from above and the light from below? I understand this. I know what it means. It means that these particles in space are light. Those are actually particles that are not condensed. Or I guess he says keep the waters above from the waters below. What is above is light that hasn't condensed. Light that has condensed into water. And that's all it is the more you crush something, the harder you will turn it into a liquid. It'll vapor, the molecules will condense. And I believe that's what happened to the Earth. As the Earth was spinning, there was no water in originally. On Earth, there was supposedly no rain until Noah. That's what I understand. This needs a lot of discussion. If there was no rain until Noah, it means that the earth was not compressed enough to condense the water molecules. That's what I'm taking on. This is hilarious. This is the other guy I'm studying. He's fabulous. This guy, John Tour. Whoa. Listen to this. This is hilarious. I love the planet-crushing irony that scientists are attempting to intelligently design a cell to prove that the cell wasn't intelligently designed. That's hilarious. Spellbinding, awe-inspiring, mind-blowing. I worked with epigeneticists and systems biologists extremely deep in the reactome, and they agreed this doesn't happen by chance. Oh, Richard Dawkins is delusional. This guy here, after listening to Professor Tour, I'm once again reading my textbook, Molecular Biology of the Cell. The idea of all this complexity could be a product of blind and unguided processes make me laugh at every page. It's hysterical. And these people are teaching the kids. Dr. John Lennox and me, who's another doctor, have a high opinion of Professor Tour's thinking and knowledge and lines of argument. And yes, absolutely, because he's right. There's no question that it's insanity to believe what we are being told. Now, I am going to leave it at that for now, but wait till you see what this guy, all of these guys, and I have a ton of them, it's not just these guys, and I have a ton of my own work too, and I have a ton of my own specimens, and, we're going to get deep, because I'm telling you right now, so much more is being missed. And I don't know whether it's on purpose or it's just arrogance by the academics to say, look, we're right and we don't want to be wrong, because if we're wrong, you're not going to love us anymore. I don't know what it is, but it ain't right. I can guarantee you that. We're going to go through it. I'm not going to drag you through too deep today. If you want to stay with me, stay with me. I'm sure I'm going to be posting about this same. I'm going to call them in the beginning, part 1, part 2, part 3, up to, and I'm telling you, it's going to go part bazillion, because there's so much to this. And I'm going to back it up with evidence, not just guesses. It's like this, just showing what I just showed today with the evidence and the support from science to prove that science is wrong. Absolutely amazing that it's being allowed to be not allowed. Now, one thing, I just want to tell you one quick story about the Indians, the indigenous people. They used to say you had the feather of truth. You hold that feather of truth, and you're the only one to speak. So you can't get interrupted. And when you're holding that feather of truth, you better be telling the truth. Otherwise, you are in deep, deep trouble. Because these people had a moral, ethical understanding of what it meant to be an honorable person, an honest, righteous, God-fearing person. I mean, I'm talking God-fearing, and I mean it in a literal way. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, why would he be? Why would God want you around him or around anyone else if you're not the kind of person that people want to be around? Loving people, receptive people, people that care about other people. And that's, I don't see, I do see a lot of that. I'm sorry. I'm getting a bad attitude, to be perfectly honest with you. I used to have a very good attitude, but once I really started to delve into what motivates humanity, and I have found that pretty much across the board it's self-interest. And whatever suits your interest is pretty much the way you're going to go, regardless if it infringes on someone else's rights or interests or whatever it is. Now, I count myself in among that group. I was totally self-absorbed. 100% was me. That was it. That's all I really cared about. I'm not kidding. I was just as bad as anybody human being could possibly be. And I feel much disgrace for much of my life. But I feel that that's when, once you realize that and you feel that disgrace and you feel remorse on a daily basis, I mean, I do every day. I'm going to leave it at this. A friend of mine told me the other day, he says, just accept everything. Don't object. It says, Jesus said, come to me as if you were a little child. And I say, why do you think that means just accept everything? When I was a little child, I asked questions about everything. I wanted to know everything. I was inquisitive. I think that's what Jesus meant. And the other thing is, when I'm holding these feathers, I'm not just holding them for pointers. I'm holding them because I'm telling you the truth as I know it from the deepest part of my heart every time I get in front of the screen.
Love it when my contact rolls back in my eye. It's like a gross game of hide and seek.
At LASIK Plus, we help patients get